All right, we are live.
All right, and it's up on Twitch.
Jordan, can you count?
I can. 987.
You count. You lagged out at 8. If you lag out, we'll tell you to repeat what you're saying if you're making a point. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Weird Gets Podcast, Season 2, Episode. This 17, right, guys?
17. Yep.
I think it's 17. It's if it's not 17, just go by the date. It's September 9th, 1999, 2001. It's a good year, you know. Nothing could possibly bad happen. Next coming.
1999, 2001 is my.
But it's actually 2017. It's September 9th, 2017. Right now, in the podcast, we got Carl.
What's up?
We got my man's Jordan.
I'm here.
And newly acquired weird kid Joseph Joestar.
Oh, hi.
Hey. So
Hey.
welcome to this bunch of memers that we have here, Joey. I want to welcome you to
Hey.
this.
Hey, thank you for bringing me along.
I expect nothing but gratuitous violence from you and the rest of you.
Well, that's the only reason why I'm here, so, you know.
All right,
Why gratuitous violence?
Carl, we can talk about this after the
This is-
podcast, okay?
No.
Look at me, Carl. We can talk about this
Look.
after the podcast, okay?
Scott, I'm scared.
I'm scared too. That's why I'm saying we have to talk about it after the podcast. All right, guys. We got a pretty awesome lineup for you today. Destiny 2 came out. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. I have no experience in Destiny, but Carl and Joey have some experience. Jordan, do you have experience in Destiny?
No, I was too busy playing the Superior in Act 2.
Very
Oh,
good. All right,
geez.
so we're gonna talk a little bit. I'm kind of interested in this. We're gonna talk about how WASD controls became a staple of the PC keyboard setup and how it originally and what it used to be and how it started and all that shit. Then we're gonna talk about maybe some Ark Survival. Half-Life 3 makes me cry. The Nintendo Switch fiasco thing that's going on for what the SD cards. Hey Mars, welcome to the stream, dude.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about, if we have time, Linksys is doing this new router that's specifically catered, quote unquote, to gamers. So I think that might be interesting. So enough of that long intro. Let's just hop right into it. So Destiny 2, when did it drop, Joey? Do you know the date that it dropped on?
I believe I can just bring it up right now. It dropped this Tuesday, actually.
So that was
Yeah.
So that was the 5th.
the 5th.
It-
All right.
It had a
September 5th.
midnight release on the 5th, and it dropped on the 6th.
All right. All right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've never played Destiny 2. I had
You ever
no
played
in-
Destiny?
No, I've never played Destiny. I don't. It's not my
Only
type of
Destiny.
game. I was kind of on board with it at the beginning. I've said the story many times, but I'll just repeat a little bit. At the beginning, I was like, Bungie's making a game. Cool, I'm on board with it. Then I saw more gameplay of it, and I was like, this isn't for me. So I stepped back. But a lot of people are kind of getting a little angry at Bungie's decision for something that they're doing. They're doing shaders. I don't know what those quite are. They're like coloring things, right?
It's completely cosmetic. All it does is it changes the look of your armor.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But people are getting a little upset about that. And the reason
Okay,
what is it?
I can tell you why they're getting upset.
Why?
So if you played Destiny 1, you know what shaders are. They have loot tables. They drop from random mobs. You get them in raids for specific really cool shit. Fucking
Like any other MMO or whatever.
Yeah, like
Pretty
any
much,
other
yeah.
thing. You know, it's transmog stuff basically. It's to make your shit look cooler. Now, how that worked in Destiny is you used like once you had the shader, it was just in your shader inventory basically forever.
Mhm.
Like you had the thing. How it's working now is all of the shaders are one-time use only.
That fucking
So if-
sucks.
So
Yeah.
if you want like that one color, like if you want that color, you're gonna use. You better be sure you want that piece of gear that's gonna be with you for a long time if you really want that
Let me
color.
interject for a second. Not only that, it's to specific areas. It doesn't cover your entire armor the one color. It's specific armor
Yes.
plates. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I think is what.
That's another thing they changed from Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, the shaders affected your entire armor loadout, while in 2, you can set it to specific shaders, which is like specific armor pieces, which is nice. That's what it should have been. But the fact that they're only one-time use is stupid.
Yeah. So the other thing as well, following up with that actually, is that something that was implemented in Destiny 1, it's called Silver. Silver is basically the in-game currency that you can use real-world money to obtain. And along with the shaders, basically you can unlock them by grinding them out in the main game, or you can buy silver, which will allow you to purchase these shaders. Again, these are just one-time use things. So imagine putting money down for this, only to be able to use this only once. You know.
Let me
So
point something else out. With the shaders, people are afraid that it's going to be like a raid, like everything's going to be in the air. People are going to find you're going to want one color, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to find that one color. Granted, Bungie says that once you hit level 20, it starts to drop more often, but I don't know how true that is, because if you do raids, in my experience in MMOs, when you do raids, people all just jump to the items.
pretty much, yeah.
Very
It's that was the same towards Destiny 1, you know. And whether or not it follows the same suit as Destiny 1 and other MMOs, usually whenever you grind out certain items in a raid, you have to wait a certain time to grind out that raid again to get specific items, right?
Yep,
So
it's a week's
for
time usually.
okay, yeah.
Raid resets.
Alright.
Yeah, so every week in Destiny 1, I believe on Sunday, after Sunday, I think? No, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Every
it's
Tuesday, the raids would reset, right? That which will allow you to unlock more items that are available within the raid. So when it comes down to it now, let's say you unlock a shader from this raid. Now, do you have to wait an entire new week just to unlock a new shader? You know, it kind of begs the question of what exactly is Bungie trying to do, or even if it even was Bungie, if this is an act from Activision. This is trying to allow them to monopolize on this idea with their silver, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the thing is that Destiny 2 released under hot water already, you know, because of Destiny 1 being a huge disappointment, and it seems like this Destiny 2 is really like it's just being like it's sold well, it's selling well. But the thing is that all the feedback that's
It's
being
very
given,
negative.
it's negative so far.
Not
Like-
really.
Like,
I'm gonna have to counter you on that. Everything from I've heard from, like, aside from the pay to win, like the mid game pay to win aspect,
Mid
like everything I've been.
yeah, that's the
Yes.
thing that people are complaining about, and I'm gonna counter you on that.
Okay,
All right,
but
let the
you
man finish his
can't-
point.
Okay,
Go ahead,
But-
Carl.
man.
Carl,
me? Okay.
Carl.
The
Oh.
fact that people are saying that it's a good game, like, it's honestly doing what Destiny 1 should have done on launch. Like, it has coherent story, it has a lot of available missions, the PvP is really good. The fact is that now let me jump to the pay to win aspect, which I mentioned. Yes, you can buy armor and weapons in the in-game store for silver. That being said, all of the armor and weapons are of green or blue rarity, which is honestly not that good. You're gonna use most of that stuff like for midway through the campaign.
I have a question. Is there like a crafting aspect, like where you can create, like if you have two different colors, you can mix the colors to make a new color, kind
not
of
in
like
Destiny,
Team Fortress
no.
2 with their smelting? No, all right.
Nah, not in Destiny, no. So, like, as soon as you unlock a piece of armor, you either have three choices. You either keep it in your inventory and don't use it, you either wear it. I don't know if Destiny 2 has this, but Destiny 1, they have a storage thing for your inventory. So, they have like a little locker where you're able to have, I think, about 50 slots for your, for whatever you didn't want on your main inventory. So, yeah, it was either you keep it or you give it, like, you sell it.
Mhm.
And basically the how the currency worked in Destiny is that you didn't really use your currency to buy armor. Really, you used it to buy like consumables and whatnot. So the armor that you would get, let's say the good armor you would get, you would have to receive specific money to unlock it.
You mean
And-
in-game currency stuff, right?
Yeah. So you had to get specific currency to unlock specific colored armor. So like the way how Destiny works, and Carl, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It works white, green, blue, purple, yellow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So basically, going from lowest to highest, white is like basically common, as in yellow is exotic armor, right?
Mhm.
And exotic armor is what you would use to pay for, or use the special in-game currency to unlock the that armor.
Not silver.
Yeah, not silver. It was currency that you unlocked through grinding. So it was called special coins. So yeah, so the thing is with Destiny 2, however, is that even though they have the pay to win aspect for just unlocking green and blue armor, I do think that does give a bit of it pulls back away from the community, as in like the PvP aspect, because I know the way how PvP works is that you have your armor that doesn't affect PvP, and then you have armor that there's playlists. Let me just fix that. There's playlists.
It
That-
comes back from
Yeah, there's huh? What do you say, Jordan?
Were you finished? I was just gonna say.
Not yet. But the way how the PvP worked in Destiny 1 is that you had two different kinds of PvP. You had PvP where your armor wasn't affected,
And then the
there-
PvP
then-
where the armor was affected.
yeah, where the armor was affected, and you needed good armor to actually survive.
Mhm.
And the thing is that I guess it's like it's pay to win in the aspect of if you go into PvP and you have this armor already, you have some slight chance. But the thing is that you still need to grind out, so it's not all entirely bad. My thing is with Bungie is that even though they're hitting all the notes at the right spots, they fix everything wrong about Destiny 1. But the one thing people complained about a lot in Destiny 1 that they needed to fix was multicolored shaders, right?
Mhm.
So, as Carl already
But
said,
at the cost of doing that, they're now one-time.
it's one-time use, which is like, okay, you did something good, but you're bringing yourself down again.
There's the
One
the
step
caveat.
forward
Yeah,
and 9 years back in terms
Basically.
of established gaming conventions. Talk about pulling back.
Yeah, right.
What? Why? When? How is it still acceptable to have a AAA title with microcurrency affecting your initial gameplay
Yeah.
on day frickin' one? And I'm just going to look completely past the glaring originality of the microcurrency being called silver. I mean, it's better than gold.
You right.
I'll take it. And I
Going.
am sub
Go on, Jordan.
right now on first.
You're lagging a little bit, Jordan.
yeah, you're lagging a bit.
Resident Robot.
Beep boop.
Mr. Destructoid's in chat. Like, that's too frightened. Is that,
Oh my
as of
God,
this
Jordan.
recording.
We can't. We can't understand you. Type it. I'll read it. I'll read it.
No comprendo. All right. Hold on.
What were you
What
saying,
we're
though,
doing-
Carl? What were you saying, though, Carl?
Well, I want to go back to the fact, like the whole what Joey's talking about with the pay to win thing.
Mhm.
And yes, there is Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. Those are the game modes that use your power level to determine like how good you are. Like
Mhm.
they actually did matter in the PvP. That being said, those game types are only around for about a month at a time.
Is it like the
And if
Halo
you're
3
u-
weekend thing?
What?
Is it like those Bungie events they did in Halo 3, the weekend bullshit? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
Real like that.
That's cool. I
But
guess.
if you're using green and blue level gear within those, like that is not an advantage. That is a hindrance.
Mhm.
Like, yes, I agree, stuff like this shouldn't be in the game. But they did it to a way where it will have no impact on gameplay. Like they constructed it in a way that where yes, they reward people for spending money to get stuff, but they're also not rewarding them in the long run because they still have to do what everyone else has to do and grind out for all the gear they need.
That was my favorite game design principle in the 80s, when they rewarded players for spending money.
Oh my god. Also, Jordan,
Yeah?
I was gonna read what you said. 6.1 Metacritic score. 600 plus reviews. Mr. Destructoid.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem. I got
It
you.
seems I got plugged back into the Skynet.
Yes, you did.
I mean, my most obvious follow-up question is, how long does it take to go about getting like above green or blue armor in the Destiny 2 context?
I think it would be down to raids and dungeons or whatever. The harder the dungeon, the better the reward. Is that true, Carl? When you play Destiny? God damn it!
Strikes. Could you not hear me?
No.
Yeah, that's why they have the strikes. They have nightfall strikes.
Mhm.
They have raids. You get good gear from PvP as well.
Okay. All right. Well. Yeah. It makes sense that way. It's the bigger the challenge, the better the armor or the rewards you get. So that makes a lot of sense.
So when it comes down to it, Destiny makes shaders infinite.
Yeah.
Just let us use
Well,
them.
yeah. Long story short, guys, if you didn't get anything out of this conversation we just had, shaders are one use only. Don't make it that way. All right. Let's
Pretty
move.
much, yeah.
Let's move right along. All right. So the thing I wanted to talk about, because I was reading this and I thought it was really interesting. All right, guys, let's imagine, let's put your, I don't know, what did your mom dress you when you were a kid?
Onesies.
Onesies?
My bell-bottom jeans.
Bell bottom. My man.
Did you have boots with the
Boots
fur?
with the fur.
I had the fur.
Yeah.
I had the overalls. All right, so put yourself back in your overalls and your bell bottom jeans to a time when you didn't quite know how to even play a video game. Imagine a control scheme and how you used it on the keyboard. You remember the days of yore when we used the arrow keys to move? Do you remember? Yes?
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember? It was
I
disgusting.
remember playing Sonic 3D.
Awful experience. Never again. It's strange that after a while, once mouse became like the horizontal axis to move or to look around and shit, that it became super uncomfortable to just have your arm over your chest and shit. So people were looking for alternatives. One of them that is literally the most used one probably today is WASD, WASD. And so I want to take a look at it for a second. So before WASD, people were fooling around with control schemes. Dennis Thresh Fong won a quote-unquote the greatest Quake player in the universe, Dennis Thresh Fong, made history, winning the first ever national Quake tournament in 1997. That's a good year.
Yeah, it was a good year.
He also won John Carmack's Ferrari, winning it. So
Wait,
yeah, that's pretty
his
cool,
Ferrari?
right? Yeah, he won his Ferrari. And the control scheme that he used was WASD and mouse. Think about that. In a time where arrow keys were king and nobody was using the mouse control to play Quake. Remember that. It was like spacebar, arrow keys, and numpad when that shit was around. This guy won a tournament, crowned the greatest player of all time using a mouse and WASD. Imagine how foreign that must have been to everybody.
I mean, this was during a time when consoles were like getting big, or were big. So, having something like that come out of nowhere and, having some person win a tournament using keys instead of a mouse. You know, it's pretty big. It's honestly it's weird. Even I would still consider that still pretty weird, especially for a first person shooter.
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. But like, of all the controls, people argue that ESDF is the better version of it. I haven't tried it out, but
That would
yeah, it's weird. And people like, if I'm reading through this, and imagine this. So I was looking at one that was ASDX. Imagine where your thumb would be and how uncomfortable that is. Think about that.
It's
It
pretty
put-
fucking horrible.
Yeah, like
That'd be
if
really
you
bad.
guys are listening to this on your phone or your iPod, just imagine it. But those of you that are at your computer right now, put your fingers over the ASD and X. That's really weird compared to WASD or ESDF, even the arrow keys. And they had a bunch of different ones. I know I'm looking at one that says ZXCV. That's still uncomfortable as shit. AZ and then QE for a game called Descent. The Descent, I remember seeing that. I'm not going to play that game. It looks like shit, to be honest. But
I remember Descent.
you remember Descent? AZ for forward and
I
reverse,
do remember Descent.
and Q and E for banking. And, you know, if you didn't have a joystick, is what they're saying right here. But
That shit was 360 views before it was popular. Imagine how clunky.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that game was
it would
360
have
degrees
to
by
design
300.
that for the first time.
Yeah, it's not set on ground. You're floating in space. Like you're like in the air. So you have to navigate it like that. So that's crazy. And think about how unforgiving that control scheme must have been.
Bet you it was still better control scheme than Aquaman Battle for Atlantis.
Oh my
Stop.
god.
You do
I
not.
was panicking.
Don't you mean Superman 64?
It's like how there was basically 10 times as much tutorial in Mario 64 as was strictly necessary, because no one had ever really envisioned platforming.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. I said beep boop, bow down to the Empress.
All right.
Got him.
So what I said, when Super Mario 64 was released in Q4 1996, I want to say, it was the grandest scope of 3D platforming that had ever come out.
That had ever come out on a console.
Yeah, the developers were kind of panicky because maybe the viewers would kind of get scared away from this.
Repeat
With it
that?
being, the developers would get scared away from the new 3D styling, which is why there's like 10 times as much tutorial in Mario 64 as is necessary. And now there's like this game, everyone just holds up, but
Can you repeat that again,
you
Jordan?
just can't. Yeah. So the way the camera is controlled
Uh-huh.
in Mario 64
Was using the
is like it was yeah. That's like the biggest complaint in terms of like obsolescence in like doesn't
I
hold up
can't
good.
understand you, dude.
All right.
That was clear though.
What I'm yeah, right. So what I'm trying to say is, in Mario 64,
Mhm.
the camera was different, and we look back thinking it kind of sucks because it was trying something that was not really tried before.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's either, oh, hey, it's the entire controller architecture shifted to accommodate that kind of perspective as it became more popular.
Mhm.
So that you could have a 360-degree 3D view with a dual stick controller.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I see. I think
That's basically how you see.
It's how that happened in 1996 and like on through 1997. It was basically the same as the WASD configurations.
It was
kind
just
of coming to
innovation. It
light.
was a shot in the dark, right?
Almost like a renaissance.
Yeah. That.
So
All right.
if-
So you're taking the words right out of my mouth. Doing like moving.
Yeah.
There's a big change. Like it wasn't just Thresh Fong who did it. I'm sure there were more people in that time that adopted WAS controls. But it was him being on that large of a stage and him, putting that in the spotlight that got everybody's attention. People, I'm reading this right now. People at E3 and just at wherever, like I guess internet cafes of those, those don't exist anymore. I'm pretty sure. But people would ask him like, "Hey, what's your configuration?" And John Carmack had put in a configuration for Thresh's, the way he plays. So people, if they wanted in Quake 2, they could just type into the console exec thresh.cfg for execute Thresh configuration, and that would set it up. So not only did everybody get good at doing it, he doesn't have to go in and map the controls. He could just type it in. So that's pretty crazy. Back in the time where
I love this. Yeah.
it's interesting, like humble beginnings. Like it wasn't it's well, I'm probably making a big deal about it because I think it's really interesting, but
I love this quote towards the end. I always rebind to ESDF, Gabe Newell.
Wow.
One
Well-
of his many mistakes.
got
Well,
'em.
look at it this way. Imagine if you were to play a first-person shooter like that today.
Jesus,
like- no mouse, just right off your keyboard.
boy,
Yeah,
that
Imagine playing
it's
Rainbow Six
completely
that
Siege.
takes
different,
so
yeah.
much more. I think if you, God bless those guys. If somebody out
Yeah.
there is playing just a keyboard and playing an FPS nowadays, my
You know,
hats off to you.
that-
You're someone. You're something. But
You want to know a pretty close feeling to that
what?
is, I'm pretty sure you remember Monday Night Combat, Scott. Yeah.
Oh, I love
I-
that game.
I have heard of it. I never played it.
It's a really fun game.
Joey.
Yeah, I
Alright,
remember it.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, really, all you need to know is that there was a point when it had a pretty solid player base where you could be on a console and play versus people on a computer.
Uh huh.
So, if you want to picture like
Jesus.
the goldfish
All right.
on their arrow keys and key mapping and macro binding with no mouse versus like the barracudas with their freaking dual shocks and their
Yeah.
Dorito headsets. I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
It got to the point where like it probably only got the attention like the conversation that it warranted, because some folks at Penny Arcade were actually like, "Oh my god, I can't believe how much of a disadvantage I am
Yeah.
playing on the console versus with a mouse and keyboard."
Yeah. It makes sense. All right. I think I've said everything I need to say about the history of the WASD control. I'm sorry if I bored you guys to death with it. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah,
Hey, it's humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah.
It's good to have a little bit of that background, you know.
It's kind of like the console controller. Seeing where PC gaming, where it had its highlight back in the '90s, and seeing how far it's come now in regards to like how first-person shooters are played and whatnot.
Yeah. If we don't innovate, we don't move. So
Yeah.
let that
But
be
it's
the
really interesting to see how people really were that precise using just their keyboard and not the mouse.
If you guys are interested, Thresh still has a website up about how he played, and it's called the Quake. It's called the Quake Bible. I'm gonna post it in here.
Quake Bible.
Quake Bible. So give that a look if you guys want to. Talk about humble.
It's not humble.
Yeah. Let's let's move right along.
Speaking of something that's not humble,
That's not humble. $45
Oh, no.
season pass isn't humble.
Oh, hey, look at that.
That's not humble at all.
No, it's not. On top of the $60 price tag that of the game that just got early access or is going out of early access.
and just got done with
Yeah.
a lawsuit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Like, why are you doing that? Like, who? What makes you? Who allows you? How do you go to sleep at night? Like,
I have to say, I admire the Ark Survival Evolved people. They
why?
are.
Because they don't get bored with a shitty game. I said it.
They have the cojones to do this stuff.
All right.
All right.
I'm a little.
Why not eliminate?
I could rail into this game for an hour because you guys already know how I feel about early access stuff. But this is the first. This isn't the first case. This is a good case of where a game comes out of early access, and I will eat my words. I remember saying at some point, either in a podcast or in this Discord channel, that Ark will never come out of early access. They are making too much money to ever do that. I eat my words right now. They're not. They are very bitter. Just like when I said them all those months ago.
I think
Then you
Jeff and I had a
realize
bit of a
that they're
debate.
still making a killing off of console editions.
Yeah. But
I think Jeff thought it was. I think he had the idea it was going to come out later.
but
Yeah.
so this
I mean,
game,
I'm happy for them.
yeah, good. I don't care. I don't care about the game. I'm just happy that a game in early access came out of early access. That's what.
man.
That's why I'm hype.
You say that like that hasn't happened a lot.
It doesn't happen a lot. It's crazy.
Doesn't happen with the games that matter.
All right, so it doesn't happen with games like this, these survival games. They always stay in early access, and I always said they are going to stay in early access. There's no way they're coming out of early access, and this one did. So again, that's very interesting. But
Haven't I showed you guys the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse?
No, you haven't. Post it.
God.
In Steam tags. Oh
But,
god, it'll take me forever to fish the image.
All right, while you're
It's,
doing that, I'm gonna.
It's early access, survival horror,
Oh my god.
crafting systems,
Yes.
and yeah, and like 8-bit or whatever,
Oh my god.
retro style.
Oh my god. So
As soon as you see those 4, it's over.
yeah. So let's see. So the game dropped at $60, twice what it cost for its entire early access run. EA means early access run in this case. What PC Gamer's using. I wanted to make that very clear in case we do drop the EA. We are talking.
Yeah.
It's shorthand for early access, not the shitty game development company prison. Moving right along, we'll have. So apparently, the developers got sued for $40 million to the release of the paid DLC while in early access. So that's another reason why I don't like these kind of scummy developers. If your game's in early access, don't release DLC.
I've never heard of day negative until now.
Repeat
I have to
that.
say I'm
Jordan?
impressed.
Repeat that.
Yeah, 1 second. What I said was, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. What I said was, I've heard of day 1 DLC, but with early access, we might be able to get the fabled day negative.
The day negative DLC. My issue with Ark is that like I played a little bit of Ark. It's an interesting game and whatnot. If you're into survival games, you might like it and whatnot. But
Dinosaurs.
I
And
love
dinosaurs, yeah.
dinosaurs.
but my thing is that it's an early access game. Like
Not
yeah,
anymore, but
not anymore. But I think it being at first a $30 game on top of a paid DLC, I think which was like $15. I think. So that's $45 right there. Now, let's say if you missed out on this DLC, you now have the opportunity to buy a $45 season pass that covers that piece of DLC, as well as 2 unannounced pieces of DLC in the future. But the price of Ark, as they already said, it's jacked up to $60. And the thing is, this isn't the first game this year for the price to hike up so now about like officially being announced of being out of early access. You had We Happy Few that was announced of being out of early access by 2018, and that price went up by $50. But the thing with Ark, did they already announce when the game is getting out of early access?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay, so this is the thing with this announcement. So this goes for both We Happy Few and Ark, which are both survival games, right? So the price for We Happy Few is $50 and Ark is $60, but they're still in early access, right?
Mhm.
So what if, right? This is just me being that kind of gamer and that paranoid person. But what if it stayed in early access?
We'd still be
Yeah.
at the $30 price tag. Well, for one,
Well, it's still in early access and it costs $60 now.
if it was still early access and cost $60,
It's still $60. It's now $60 and it's still in early access. Like it's not officially taken off.
I retract my previous statement.
Yeah, like it's still like an early access game. It's just they had an announcement.
I mean, this also isn't the first case of an early access game getting a port to a console. Because
Yeah,
Killing Floor 2 is on PS4.
yeah.
My thing about it is though, Tripwire has come out with plenty of other games. It wasn't just Killing Floor. I'm pretty sure they did. Pretty sure Rising Storm, the Vietnam game,
Yeah.
as well as Killing Floor. So they have a bit more leeway as to a developing studio called Wildcard. In my opinion. Hello?
I'm just looking at. Hey, I'm looking at reviews for Ark now.
I don't know how I feel. I feel like if it was a download, they had a full physical release for the game, and the fact that they're still like on Steam, still considered an early access.
I'm on the Steam page now, so Scott, you can keep your statement. It's actually not.
Oh well,
Early
never. You
access
need to.
Boy,
Yeah.
stop jerking me around.
Yeah,
Stop jerking me around.
Yeah, because I remember I checked it a few days ago and it was still in early access, so they must have taken it off of like recently.
Yeah, because the physical edition released this week.
There was a physical edition of this game. What,
Yes.
That's what
bruh?
we're fucking talking. Oh my god.
Bruh, there's a physical.
Have you
version
I'm
of
gonna
not
this
been
game?
listening
slap the
to us
shit
go?
out of you.
Look, I'm eating some pizza right now. That's pretty spicy, all right. So
Oh my god.
Stop.
But-
Yeah, the spice is stopping you from listening.
the spice is tearing on my
Going to
heart.
your head.
Yeah, it is going to your head. Put that
But,
pizza down.
Man, the guy has to eat sometime. But anyway, regardless of that, I think it's interesting to see that this game is what it was an early access game, but now it's $60 at a full price AAA title. On top of the $45 season pass. And not a lot of games get away with this.
They're not. They're not. They are not getting away with
They're
it.
not getting away with this at all. Because the Bungie did this with Destiny 1. Rocksteady did this with Batman Arkham Knight. Where the season pass was $40. Literally every yeah, right. Literally every EA game with their season pass.
EA is so far up their own ass it doesn't even matter at this point.
So
They just-
the thing is,
they're just feeling around in the dark.
and I have to agree with Carl on this, is that I do feel like some way to like, I have to be proud of these guys of being this ballsy to do this. Like they must be this confident in their game and their product.
You know
It's
why
not
they're this
only-
confident? Because it's been in early access
Early
since
access.
2015.
Yeah, and I've been following this game since 2015 when it first released on Steam.
And
My
just
friends all
imagine, you're gonna have people who are coming in and be like, "Oh, Ark Survival Evolved. Oh, what's that game? Is it new?" And they're
Yeah,
gonna
pretty
get
much.
people. They're gonna get new gamers because of
They're
it.
gonna
Like,
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now I
you're
remember
right.
this was available on Xbox One in early access. Was this a new title? Was this new for the PS4? Was it also in early access on PS4?
it wasn't on PS4.
It wasn't on PS4. Okay, so I can see that targeting the PS4 audience. like extremely well with them. But if you're familiar with Ark, then you already know what's going on with the game and it being a $30 game, then now 60, and then on top of $45.
So Scott, do you see them succeeding?
I mean, sadly, yeah. They've succeeded since 2015, and they have so much money right now, Carl. It doesn't even. I don't think it even really matters if the price goes up to fucking $60, $70, $80, because the season pass. I mean, the season they're going to release more content. They have never stopped making more content. I remember when
Which is
when
good.
yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I remember when Ark was just you put a rock on a stick and you fight dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Now you're riding dinosaurs that are shooting fucking laser beams. I don't know where. All right, so first off, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I feel a little intimidated by this game because think about the point where human beings are right now and how long it took. How long is it going to take for me to get an AK-47 and take over a colony and whatever, in that game? Because you have to build everything, right?
Pretty much, you have to build everything from the ground up. Yeah.
My other question is, on console, I know on PC, I'm pretty sure they have a server list. How's it going to work on console? Does it also... my guess is they probably also have a server list to some extent.
Yeah. So the way how consoles work, actually, when it comes to servers, is that the companies would have dedicated servers already made for the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as many as PC. So, like, let's say, for example, if there was an MMO that were to release on a console, let's say like Final Fantasy 14, right? They'll have a list of servers you can join in on, and then that's pretty much where you can go from there, right? So the way how Ark, from what I remember, when I played it back on the Xbox One, there was a list server, and basically you just chose which one your friends were in, and it's primarily like it works the same way. You choose West, East, Asia, Central,
Yeah. Okay.
So it's more condensed rather than open compared to the PC. So it really just comes down to being able to handle. Let's say if the game ended up selling really well on PS4 and the servers were overloaded, then they would probably have to make more servers for the game. But I can see them not having that issue because the game is popular only within the PC community and not at the console community just yet. They haven't really marketed towards the console community, really, from what I've seen. It's only really been towards PC users. So I don't really see an issue of like servers like getting filled up or having people having issues of joining a server. So
I feel
it's
like
not.
that's an issue of where time will tell.
Yeah, and it really does come with time. So if they really do try to push out marketing for this game and try to push it out for people to buy on consoles, then they're gonna have to definitely do more work with getting more people on one server. So I think it's gonna be interesting, but I know this is necessarily in the topic right now, but this is something that we should I think talk about actually is the developers from Ark are trying to bring in cross-platform play.
I don't think cross-platform really ever works.
Oh yeah, no. But I think in a survival game, I mean,
I don't think that'll work.
Well, the
only time where cross-platform could reasonably work is if it's a racing game like Rocket League. I feel like there are too many factors involved with survival because if you're in a first-person perspective, the DPI on a mouse, distance per square inch, right?
Yeah.
Is vastly superior. Vastly to that of the analog stick on a controller.
Yeah.
Vastly. You can fight me on that. There is very much night and day.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with Ark is that, from what I remember, I think there's like friendly servers that people were able to play on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's not like Rust, where like you're fighting against the entire player base or whatever.
But even then, there are griefers, and I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, there's possibilities, but there's going to be drawbacks and whatnot. But I think one of the things that's going to hold Ark back is definitely the bigger companies like Sony and Microsoft. Not necessarily Microsoft. They've been very helpful with obviously helping them market the game and whatnot, especially on for Xbox. But Sony's been very stingy with marketing for their console.
Mhm.
So I don't really see this game really selling so well on Sony consoles, really.
All right. We got. We
Yeah.
Know another game that's not going to be selling really well?
don't say
Half-Life
Half-Life
3.
3. What a smooth segue! I never would have seen that coming.
why you make me cry. Why do you do
So
this?
for those of you who didn't hear,
They skipped right
Game-
over 3 and went to Half-Life 4.
yeah, that's what they did. This year at Gamescom, one of the Valve developers released a letter, so to say.
Uh-huh.
It was basically a
Sorry.
document explaining why Half-Life 3 wasn't made and why it won't be made.
Do you elaborate more on that point, Carl?
Oh my god, you're gonna have to make me go find this shit again. Because I posted, yeah, you're showing what I posted up earlier, which was the conversation that guy had with Game Informer. If you want to go into that while I try to find this letter.
Yeah. So you're talking about the was that the same dude that posted the Reddit article as well?
Yeah.
It's the same guy. Yeah. He basically gender swapped everybody in the Half-Life universe to write out the plot of Half-Life 3 that they built that they had storyboarded for quite a while. Why it was never made, I don't know. I still don't know.
Take the ladder here and blame Gabe Newell.
No, don't blame Gabe. Talking to a god,
Gabe, please
heretic.
make it happen.
Please make it happen. But Half-Life 3, Half-Life 2, Episode 1 was released. Val Boss gave Newell referred to Half-Life 1 to 3 as being Half-Life 3. Probably a better name for it would have been Half-Life 3, Episode 1, he admitted during an interview. This is all coming from PC Games, and Valve didn't want players to go through another similar experience. Instead, the next game in the saga was to span 3 smaller episodes that would be released with far higher frequency, which we did not see. We only saw Episode 1, Episode 2. Episode 1, when did Episode 1 come out?
1998 or 99, I think.
No.
Oh wait, Half-Life 2, right?
Half-Life 2, Episode 1. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, it's 2004 or 5. I'll look.
Look it up. I know Half-Life 2, Episode 2 came out in like 2000.
2000. Okay, Half-Life 2, Episode 1 is 2006.
2006.
Yeah.
When did Episode 2 come out? 2007?
Let me look.
Or was it 2009?
2007. 2000.
It was also 2007?
Oh, so Episode 1 was 2006. Episode 2 was 2007.
All right. So it was a year apart. So it doesn't make much sense as to why they didn't release it, the next one right after it. And that's why a lot of people are upset. Carl, did you find the article? Carl? Is your mic off?
Carl.
God damn it. Why don't we come back to this topic? 'Cause I know Carl wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head on over to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh boy.
All right,
All right.
so
So-
this was your article. So
Yeah. So
why don't you lay the groundwork?
yeah. So basically, for people out there who are on the Nintendo product, specifically like the Nintendo Wii U, you know that the Wii U was critically acclaimed for having very low memory. Basically, if you had the standard version of the Wii U, you had 8 gigabytes of memory, while the deluxe version of the Wii U, you had 32 gigabytes of memory. So one of the issues that the community had was that, let's say you want to download games, if your memory ran out, you had to uninstall stuff, which is it's normal or whatever. It's just the fact that it's just very low memory compared at the time. It was
Kids
you had
these days
Xbox.
don't remember memory blocks.
Yeah,
And memory.
it's like you had the Xbox 360 and the PS3, where I think at the time when the Wii U released, they were maxing out at 500 gigabytes. So it's like, okay, the Wii U only has 32 gigabytes, while we have our competitor here. Well, they have their competitor maxing out at 500 gigabytes for the console. So just to fast forward, you have the Switch.
To sidetrack, yeah.
Oh, you gonna say, Jordan?
Well, to sidetrack just a little bit, it's at least better than the precedent when the prior generation, like the PS2 and the GameCube, were using proprietary memory. So you didn't even know how many megabytes a game was. It was like schmegabytes.
Yeah.
But in the case of the GameCube, it was memory blocks.
It was
Yeah,
memory
yeah,
How
block.
much is a block? Nobody knows that.
nobody.
No one knew what a block was.
It's-
You got a $30 memory
It's
card
the-
and just hope for the best.
It's the
Yeah.
classic case of inches versus metrics and shit like that. Like
Yeah.
why do we use this over here? It doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
continue.
So with the Nintendo Switch releasing, one of the big questions was how much storage is the console going to have?
Not a
Mind
lot.
you, it's
Not
not
gonna
a
have
lot.
a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know why people are surprised about this.
yeah. I mean, it's not going to have a lot. Mind you, it's a tablet console, so it's not going to have a high memory unit in it because it's trying to compensate for cost. It's trying to the consoles.
Yeah, where do you fit the rest of a gigabyte or the rest of a terabyte on that?
Yeah, like you're not going to be able to fit anything on there. So Nintendo did the smart move of allowing people to use micro SD cards. No specific micro SD cards, just whatever micro SD card you can put inside the console.
Which I
and
applaud
it
for them.
works.
I do like that.
Yeah.
It's much better than what the Vita did with
Oh my god.
proprietary.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Vita, you had to buy Sony exclusive SD cards,
hmm
which were like $100,
The Apple of a tablet.
pretty much.
You right.
Pretty much. But basically, what's going on now is this article that I actually found. This person's kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily complaining, but he is talking about how people are complaining about the storage, right? So with NBA 2K18, yeah, I know it's kind of weird talking about that on the Nintendo console, but yeah,
Keep in
This is
mind.
the future.
Keep in mind the article that we are looking at is by Nintendo enthusiasts. So you already
Yeah.
kind of know where this is going.
yeah, pretty much. So pretty much, 2K18 is coming out, and the first thing that's already been mentioned is that you're gonna need a micro SD card in order to play the game. You're gonna need an extra storage. This is where I agree with the backlash from the community, and I also agree with the person who's writing this article, is that if you're gonna release a game like this and that big, you're only releasing 32 gigabytes of memory storage memory for your console. You already have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild that already takes up, from what I understand, half of the memory if you download it digitally, right? So it's like, in a way, it kind of makes you like, hey, if you want to buy NBA 2K18,
You have to
Granted,
buy another micro SD card just to play it.
you're gonna have to buy another. Yeah, you have to buy another storage card to play it and whatnot. And it's like, do you really want to spend this much money on just to play basketball?
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's the problem that everybody's having is that looking towards the future of this console, they don't want to buy a micro SD card for every game that is released.
Yeah.
But that's the problem when you have the quality of game, which is very good, on a portable console, which can only have so much memory due to its size. It's got to be portable. That's why it's in the name. So limiting its memory down to 32 gigabytes, 28, whatever it is, there are going to be cuts that are made, and we are seeing one of those cuts right now. If you want to play games that are more taxing on the console, you're gonna have to fork over another $40 just to be able to save in the game, essentially.
Yeah.
So whether or not
Yeah.
people understand that, I hope that you guys out there listening that you have a Switch, I hope you've thought about this, because it's a very important thing to have in your mind, that the more taxing the game is, the more memory it's going to use, and you're going to need you're going to need more memory. There's no cutting around it. You're just going to need more space. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think the thing that people don't understand is that Nintendo has to do a lot for these games to be put on these little SD cartridges, beforehand. So like what the Wii U did to prevent the storage to get taken up is that they did a lot of memory compression, and essentially it just you're just making certain files within the game, compressed and make them smaller, so it's not taking over your console's memory or whatever. And the thing is with the Switch is that they are also doing that, but the thing is that they can't, because whenever you compress something, it's also reducing its quality, and Nintendo's not trying to do that.
Why don't we just use 7-zip and compress Breath of the Wild into 3 megabytes?
Oh, you're not wrong.
Let's
I
just
mean,
make it a MIDI.
My perspective,
how
make
about
it a MIDI.
Jesus Christ.
how about this? We put every Nintendo Switch game on mini clip and we call it a day.
No,
How about that?
no.
Mini clip.
You're
mini
making
clip.
me sick saying those words.
Mini clip pool, Scott. Don't forget.
Those words make me very rock hard, though. Mini clip.
Oh, you're right.
She had me
Takes
at
me
mini
back.
clip pool. But
I'm honestly surprised that Nintendo hasn't switched over to a cloud-based storage system yet as their main software.
you know,
Yeah, it is surprising.
especially
be a
with the
thing.
Switch's release, I'm surprised about that too, Carl. I think it's all, and that's a very good point, Carl. Like that's a really good point. How much longer till it becomes a cloud? It's a cloud system for everything. All console games. I don't think it's going to ever happen for PC games unless we're like doing like 400.
I mean-
400
I mean, it's already
Technic-
kind of happened.
It's
Unless
already
I
happened.
mean,
I don't trust
I mean to the
Steam with my cloud. Okay.
to the extent of it would take for like console. Like you need like 400K VR hooking you up to the Matrix. I'm talking
So
about. Like that's the amount of memory I would imagine.
Yeah.
We're not quite
Like-
at that yet.
Yeah, so the thing is though is also that like Microsoft and Sony, they have already implemented cloud-based storage on their consoles. And I think the thing with Nintendo is that since they're like so used to having simplistic things for their console, like the initial build for their console is very simplistic. They don't really go all out with involving extra features. The Switch is the very first console for them that involves so many things in this small piece of hardware. So I think the thing is that whenever we get the next Nintendo console, that's probably when we'll start seeing cloud-based storage for Nintendo. Because
That is.
yeah, it's just it seems like
Right.
Nintendo with each console they've been making so far, they are slowly understanding the market and where it's going towards to. Like you had the Wii with the Internet Play.
But
The
they're not
Wii U-
exactly attenuating to everyone else's standards.
Oh yeah, no, not for sure. Yeah, for sure not. It's definitely if they would need to do it from a company standpoint, not from a consumer standpoint, because that's
Right.
one thing that can make them stand out. Like, hey, look, if I played Breath of the Wild, and let's say if I wanted to play on if I wanted to play Breath of the Wild on my friend's Switch, right? All I need to do is sign into my account, and whatever cloud save is on my account, I can just pick it up from there.
Mhm.
And that would be really cool. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but
Didn't
You
the
know, that's
360 do that as well?
the PS3 did that.
It wasn't the 360. I could have
The,
sworn the
the,
360.
I don't think the 360 didn't do it. The PS3 actually did it. What the PS3 did was
I
they
can't
had
keep my words. Oh well.
the PS3 had interconnected play with the PS Vita,
Mhm.
so it wasn't like cloud-based storage of what we think of it now. Basically, what it was is that when you connected your PSN account to both your Vita and PS3, whatever games that were both on each other's, like I'm gonna use Sly Cooper 4 for example, right?
All right.
Sly Cooper 4 was released on both PS3 and PS Vita.
Okay.
And you got a copy for both. Like if you got PS3, you got the PS Vita for free, and then vice
What?
versa. So, yeah. So
That's an interesting
if-
marketing tactic.
yeah. So if you were playing on the PS3, and you just so happen to have a Vita, all you need to do is if you had Sly Cooper on the Vita, if there was a point that you stopped at on the PS3 version, all you need to do is just make sure you're signed on to your PSN account. Make sure you have Sly Cooper on your Vita, and you'll be able to continue to play the game from there. So it wasn't necessarily cloud-based saving in the way that we see it now. It was more like an interconnected cloud-based storage system where you got to continue your game somewhere
I
else.
see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily. They tried working with the idea before, but this is the first time with the PS4 and Xbox One where they're actually using cloud-based storage as what it's meant to be for. You know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
All right.
But I think so now that we have Carl and Carl back, we should. I think this is a good
Let's go back to,
opportunity.
the-
Talk about the Half-Life article.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
All right,
Carl, you are here, right?
Nope.
All right.
Rip.
Well, you're gonna lead us in with your article because it's your article.
Oh well, there it is. That's the lead, guys.
All right, that was the podcast. Have a good night.
Yep, there you go.
But seriously, what were you
Okay,
talking about
so-
before, Carl?
I've got to find it. It's basically the fact that the biggest thing that has kept Valve from making Half-Life 3 is that I forget the exact word because I'm trying to find the thing. They run on a system that's like
it's you can
There's
do
no
this if you
management.
want. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. They I've heard about this as well. Valve doesn't assign people to a project. The people at Valve assign themselves to a project. So it's they're from what I remember, like as an example, there were 3 teams. So there was Portal, Half-Life 3, Left 4 Dead 3, or whatever it is. People, from what I understand, people were more interested in Left 4 Dead 3. So a lot of people would be like, "Oh, this is interesting. What you guys have here is cool. We're gonna go to this." And so that's why people haven't been seeing that. It's kind of like you do what you want at Valve, then we'll release the game. Like it's you come to work and you work on what you quote unquote feel like working on, but not that loose. It's like I'm going to work on this today, and people just kind of worked on that, right?
something like that here. I'm gonna quote the article that I posted to you guys.
Hmm.
It said, quote, Valve has a flat structure, meaning there's no real management, just a few influencing personalities. Among them is company co-founder and president Gabe Newell. Game Informer's source seems to suggest that Newell is not interested in making Half-Life 3. Every time a Half-Life project gets some gravity and then collapses, it becomes harder and harder for the next one to start up. Unquote.
All right. Yeah.
So it goes to prove that even with all of the stuff we've seen, like all of these supposed concept arts and stuff like that, that there is nothing going on, and it's just like their way of showing, like with these interviews they've been doing, and they're like saying they've been pulling plugs on companies that have been like assigned to do the work. So like even in once again in the article it says a few months after taking part in the arcade attack interview, Mark Laidlaw published a short story on his blog in the guise of fan fiction.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That being a big
Yeah.
big drop.
It was, quote, told from the point of view of Jurdy Fremont and featured gender-switched versions of Half-Life 2 cast. It's a tongue-in-cheek method of revealing Laidlaw's story for Episode 3. So it's... Since the story, like, people have been releasing the story. People have been saying that stuff is going on, and it's just... What do you do? Half-Life 3 has gained such a momentum as a meme, and like people want it, and it's to the point where it's become so big. Like, would you say this is like one of the few cases of a fandom or a group of people making something so big where the originating company is like scared of doing it?
I might
Didn't stop
I might be a
forever.
Valve sympathizer at this point, but I think it's on both ends because if you keep saying that Half-Life 3 is going to come out and then it's slowly kind of like they stop kind of saying it, people are like, where is it? Oh, I bet they're making it super good. oh, I can't wait for it to drop. Valve always waits till waits till people meet technology. The right talent meets technology. You know what I mean? So people are like, oh, it might be in VR. So now it's just gotten so big that I don't think they're gonna ever be able to really deliver on it.
Yeah,
Especially with Gabe Newell saying it will never happen.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's.
I think it's just the fact of like what you already mentioned and what Scott's already explained.
I
You
mean,
know, it's the fact that
the only conspiracy theory that I can think of is that Dota is secretly funding them to make a new. Like I know Source. I know they're getting an updated Source engine soon. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Source 2 or
Scott's
Source
just
3.
Dream Alive boys.
No, but there is like people have seen images like hold on, what is it? It's Source 3 or Source 2. Just look it up. It looks nice. But my conspiracy theory is like they're waiting till like they can make it VR or whatever and then they'll release it, but that's so fucking far fetched. It's unbelievable. I'm that homeless guy running down the street saying we have 24 hours left.
Yeah, yeah, but like thinking
The end is
about
coming.
like thinking about like you know just like what Valve's doing. I mean, they have a lot of stuff that they're working on. I mean, they have Steam to basically run, and then on top of that, you know, they have whatever projects that they're working on.
Dota
But
2, Artifacts,
Dota-
the card
they-
game, fucking suck my nuts.
stop. We don't talk about that game. Doesn't exist. All right, doesn't exist.
What don't we talk about?
Dota,
Artifacts.
fucking artifacts. It's Dota. It's a Dota 2 card game.
Oh, Artifact, the Dota 2 card game.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when they were.
What
I remember when
they're
they
talking about.
announced it, and everyone in the crowd was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
That was
There is one
funniest
thing,
Right.
video.
guys.
What?
Next year is the 20th anniversary of Half-Life.
Hooray!
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
How
You
very sweet.
heard it here first, folks. Half-Life 3 confirmed for next year.
And before they're just jerking us around till the 20th anniversary.
What if they pull like a Bethesda and they just release Half-Life in VR?
I'd fucking be angry as shit.
At
Like,
this point, I really, if Valve ever does release Half-Life 3, I don't want them to make an announcement.
they
I
just
just want it to be on Steam.
yeah, so make a surprise.
That would be fucking dope.
yeah.
My
dude,
biggest fear is that it's going to go the route of Duke Nukem forever.
Duke. Well, no, the thing with Duke
People
Nukem
just
Forever.
wake up one day, see their Steam account has an update to make.
Yeah.
They update it, they log in, and just in 4 big letters on the homepage of the store, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
You know, if that should happen, it would be a fucking world nightmare. Like people wouldn't know what to do. Have you ever seen the end of The Mist? People would be freaking out, dude. Some guy would probably be in his car, be like, "Honey, it's gonna be okay. I know the end is
kills him.
coming." And he kills everybody in the fucking car. I'm
And then
sure that
everything
exact
turns out to
same
be
shit
fine.
will happen.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, everything turned out fine at the end. Well, not for him, but everything turned out fine at the end.
Yeah, for
In the
him.
mess.
Yeah, for
Not for him.
No,
Not
what do
for
you
him.
mean? What do you mean not for
Not-
him?
not
He's
for-
alive.
He killed everyone.
He did. No one else in the car is alive. He's
No, he
alive.
He killed everyone as soon as everything was better.
Yeah, he's fine though.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Yeah, he's fine, though.
he's not. He has the crippling anxiety and depression that he has to live with for the rest of his life, but he's still a human being,
He's physically fine.
no matter
but
how
not
dead he
mentally.
may be inside.
But anyway, regardless of that, whether or not we're gonna have a mist effect here with Half-Life 3, if it ever is a thing, it's probably just gonna come down to either Valve wants to probably work on it, or eventually they're just gonna be like, hey, we'll pay someone who wants to just make a unofficial Half-Life 3 version
As
of the
long-
game.
I would be-
Gearbox.
I would be so mad
Yeah.
if they outsourced for Half-Life 3, dude. You would
Oh,
have
like
to
Mass Effect
hold
Andromeda.
me down. I wouldn't be
Gearbox.
happy. I wouldn't be happy. I don't really even like Gearbox.
Yeah. Well, speaking about technology meeting talent,
Lamoa. We could talk about this for a little while. So, Linksys is making a router that quote unquote caters to gamers with claims that it'll lower ping. By
What is it,
77%?
by 77%.
77%.
Yep.
The price tag for the thing is $300.
So basically, if you make money and you want to have a higher connection speed and a good streaming speed, this is a router for you.
Yeah,
If you're for poor people and you're just trying to make it through the day, just stick with your free Comcast router.
you're just trying to make it.
Just try to make it through. Just stick
Where are
with
you
your
getting free
Comcast.
Comcast? I'm down. Hook me up.
Oh, so right. If you have Comcast, right?
Okay.
Are you a Comcast user?
I
You make it sound like he's a drug addict.
I mean,
Are you
dude,
using
I use Comcast all the time, man.
oh no. So basically,
5 miserable months on the wagon of Comcast.
So basically, if you have a router that's old, you can go to your local Comcast store and they will give you a free modem that also acts as a router, and yeah, that. So I can't say the router's good. I just have good internet. So
It doesn't lower your ping by 77%, so it's not good.
it's hey, look,
77%.
it doesn't lower my ping to 77%. But I can sure tell you, I don't disconnect from Rainbow Six Siege. I'm like someone here that I know.
I'm gonna hit you with that good shit in a second, boy. I'm gonna hit you with that good shit.
But it's interesting seeing how, like, not even 10 years ago, you could stuff like this was barely imaginable, and now we're looking at, hey, you can have you can play games with no problems now.
There was a point. Granted, I wasn't coherent enough to be able to really have an effect on it or for it to affect me. But there was a point where you would have to tell people to get off the phone if you wanted to play online.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember when microwaves would cut my connectivity.
Oh my
I'd be in the middle of whatever, skilling in RuneScape or I don't even.
I'd be RuneScaping it up.
Or doing a Halo 3 deathmatch and then someone has to use the microwave and my shit gets busted.
I remember when
It's real. The struggle is real.
the struggle was real. I remember when I used to play games on fucking Miniclip, and whenever someone needed to use the phone, I'd just have to get off everything, and I was just like, "Well,
You're a liar.
I'm not,
You're a liar.
dude. When I didn't have all these Mario games before, dude. I played the crappy Flash games on Miniclip,
I choose to believe you.
and like
I refuse.
that was the only way I could play them was on my computer, and then if my dad or mom needed to use the phone, I had to get off the internet and let them use the phone for like a good hour, 2 hours. I'm like, I just wanted to finish
God
this
forbid
fake
you
Mario
had-
game.
God forbid you go outside and have fun.
What's going outside, Scott? What is
I'm gonna
that?
hit you.
What is this?
I'll
What is
hit
this
you.
concept that you
So,
speak about?
so the long story short, the router is fucking $300, lowers ping by 77%, from 74 milliseconds to 17 milliseconds when using this thing. 10 megabits per second as a down and up internet connection. If you have multiple devices consuming the 10 megabits per second connection, that's what Linksys says. It's going to drop this September, September 21st. So it's $300 if you have $300 and you.
Don't like spending your money on things with results.
Yeah, if you don't like spending your money on stuff that.
Is it important?
No.
I mean,
Is any of the stuff that we talk about tonight important?
I think the most important thing here that we spoke about was honestly the keyboard.
That was important. That was important to
pretty-
me.
That was pretty important.
If you don't
It's
take
important to learn.
if you take anything away from tonight, it's that always brush your teeth before you go to bed, and WASD is probably the better control scheme compared to the arrow keys.
Yes.
Eat your vegetables. Stay
Eat
in
your
school.
vegetables. Stay in school.
Don't
do
do
drugs. There
Play
we
with
go.
WASD.
Don't
Stay
play
in
like,
vegetables.
don't
Eat your parents.
don't
What?
don't do that.
What?
Don't go ghost on people too, please.
Oh.
But
but
We're in the future, guys. Think
It's
about
the
that.
future is now.
We're in 2017.
2017,
We're-
baby.
We're in the
I'm
future.
skeptical on this router infrastructure, but I mean, who knows?
It's interesting. I mean, Linksys is a pretty reliable router company. I mean, it's interesting that they're focusing on making routers for gamers. Since like, if you realize, you know, the thing is that
If you slap the word gamer or gaming or pro on
yeah, people are
any
gonna try. Yeah.
peripheral, the
Anyone's
price
gonna
will
try to get it.
immediately shoot up,
Oh yeah.
no matter
I mean,
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna cater towards people who play esports. You know, people who are in high level competitive play, or even people who are popular streamers and whatnot. You know, this is I see it as not only for people who use streaming, not for gaming, but people who use this as a way for gaming, streaming their stuff, and also like let's say uploading content. But in reality, it comes down to one thing and one thing only:
What's that one thing?
having good internet.
Let's move right along. I think that's it actually.
Yeah, I think
You
we hit the
guys-
rest of our articles. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about real quick?
Nope.
Damn, Carl wants to get the fuck out of here.
I hate all you guys.
Well,
I
well-
don't doubt that.
Well,
I don't doubt it.
well,
Oh,
well.
how
On
do
the
I-
next episode
how
of
do I end
Doritos
this?
Dad's
How
show.
do I end this? Alright, guys. Hope you. We don't have anything to plug. I'm so used to Jeff being here.
Plug my heart.
Alright. Alright, guys. Hopefully next Friday we'll be back on schedule. It's either Friday or Saturday. We'll be back with another podcast. I have 4 podcasts that I have to upload that I'm going to upload, I want to say Tuesday this week. So you can get caught up on that. If there is any questions, guys, you have any questions?
I just want my $300 router.
All
That's
right.
it.
Do you guys have a quick review or a rapid review you want to do?
League of Legends.
Oh boy.
No.
I
Best
love it.
MOBA in 2009. It's not 2009, Carl.
Well, I played Silent Hill 3. It's very different from Silent Hill 2. Tone-wise, atmosphere, and
Isn't that the one where he plays the girl?
yes, it is. There was a lot of symbolism that was really gross.
It's the
Really
dog's
gross.
fault.
It was really gross. But all in all, it was a pretty fun game.
Did you get the sheep ending?
I did not. That's in Silent Hill 2.
No, there's a sheep ending.
On the third one?
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess that's really it. I don't really have a rating for it. Like an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I mean, I've been playing Gwent. I've been playing Gwent for a while, but it's a good card game. It's a bit different from your Hearthstone and whatnot. So I give it a 6 out of 10 because grinding.
Alright, that's fair. Alright, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, follow us on Twitch, like us on Facebook. Check out the website. Jeff worked really hard on it. And check out the YouTube. That's where I upload the podcasts and other videos. I hope to see you guys later. Joey, do you want to finish that Silent Hill map, or?
I'm gonna hop on over with some friends. They've been bugging me to play some Overman with them,
Alright, okay. That's
so
fine.
Overman.
we'll
So-
play with them.
Maybe later tonight we'll play Left 4 Dead. I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah, I'm down.
But above all else, guys, have a good night. Take it easy and peace.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.